We're now going to hear from Mr. Prasad, who is the Managing Director of Bernard Schulte Ship Management in India. So we've heard from two cash buyers, so I think it's good now to hear the ship owner's perspective on this. Now, Mr. Prasad has been associated with Bernard Schulte for the last 18 years. So he's the Managing Director of the office in Mumbai. He's a marine engineer by qualification and also has an MBA in business administration from Hong Kong. He began as a junior engineer sailing in October 1973. He's chosen to reveal that. And was chief engineer for 15 years with companies such as Great Eastern, Egon Oldendorf, Ugland, Eurasia, etc. So he came ashore, joined Eurasia, first as technical superintendent, then technical manager, fleet director, and today, as I've said, the managing director. So, Mr. Prasad, if you will.
This is a short video of the ship pitching in Alang in July this year. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests on the panel, ladies and gentlemen. The video what you saw is one of the ships which we managed for 18 years from the day it was built in Sassi dockyard. And in this year, we spent about $3 million to dry dock the ship. And due to the market, the owners decided to sell the ships after 8 months. So it shows how the shipbuilding or the ship recycling is taking place. There seems to be totally a unsustainable disconnect between the two phases. The shipbuilding one side is going higher and higher. Large number of ships are being delivered. At the same time, it's putting pressure because of the low market. The very good ship, which could have traded for another few years, are heading for the scrapyard. That's all the numbers today in this series alone, as mentioned by some of my colleagues, is gone to over 1,200 ships being scrapped in this year. So this unsustainable disconnect, why it is there, can we do something about it? And why suddenly today ship recycling has become such a hot topic? Because low freight market, the owner would have run the ship for another 10 years. The ships which are 3 years earlier being purchased at a higher price are the one facing the brunt of the market because they're being scrapped. As we know, earlier times, the ship used to be scrapped when they are totally like a rust bucket. But today, I think more than 50% of ships that people can confirm that are the ships which are still commercially viable. They could trade for a longer time and still being done. I will not go much in detail why the ship's disconnect is there, because it's a question of debate. There seems to be no kind of a regulation that how many ships you will build and how many ships you can scrap. It's a market forces, it's a free world. The ship owners are ordering ships. At the same time, they're scrapping ships in the hope they will have more fuel-efficient ships to trade in the future. When the ship is reaching the end of the life cycle, or for technical reasons or due to accidents, ship owner decides to scrap the ship, and it is normally today bought by cash buyers. We heard about the cost of cash buyers, but one thing which I like to mention, the earlier cash buyers didn't have so much of obligations. Today, they have to be licensed. They have to have a DOC, like any ship manager or ship owner. Even for a short voyage, what they have to trade the ship. One more important aspect of the Hong Kong Convention, which is going to be ratified very soon also, is that even for the short voyage, the responsibility of the ship shifts to the cash buyers. But the ship owner who has sold the ship to the cash buyer still has responsibility on the way the ship is scrapped. So they cannot shy away that I have sold the ship to cash buyers, I am away from all responsibility, how the ship is recycled or how the ship is demolished. They have no responsibility. Today, the ship is sold at the light ship weight. Typically, the price today is ranging between 350 to 450 tons. And cash buyer are the one who who negotiate with the yard. Because why we need a cash buyer today is that the most of the blue chip ship owner would not like to deal or go through the hassle of the liabilities or to deal with the scrap yards. Because you see, in Alang today, there could be 160 plots. They are all about 50 meter wide by 150 meter this thing. So all these scrap dealers are there, and maybe a blue chip owner would not like to deal with them directly. Or as you mentioned by Mr. Nicholas Dean, that there are money transactions take place through Bangladesh is more difficult. So it is much more cleaner for the ship owner to deal with the cash buyers, and this is the flow of the recycle ecosystem. One you can see is that the ship owner can go to ship broker and he goes to cash buyer, or if he has got a good number of staff, he can go to cash buyers and negotiate the best price with the shipyard. Or the third route is he can still go directly to the ship breaking yard and sell the ship. This is in gist. It shows how the flow of the ship scrapping or demolition take place. And on top of that, now we have come one more factor here, the green ship recycling specialist. Before the ship is sent, the ship have to obtain a certificate that is ready, is there, that ship can go for a scrap. That certificate has to be obtained, and without that, it cannot be sent directly to the ship, to the scrap yard. These are some of the slides from the World Bank report. That the ship breaking yard is there. Then the factor which is affecting the ship, why it will be scrapped, is the freight rates. What you know today is very much depressed. Cost of operation, regulation like single hull tankers or MARPOL issues, etc. are there. Tomorrow it could be 2015. We can see a surge of ship, not of ship, of single hull going for a scrap. Or it could be demand for a scrap is certainly very high, because you can see in Bangladesh they have no kind of a steel industry. 80% of steel is coming from the scrap ships. In India, it's about 15%. So demand for steel, and also labor cost, another cost. Now, we talk something about vessel convention, but is the vessel convention, sorry, before I go to that vessel convention, let me see here. When we talk about ship recycling and practices what you saw in the video, how the ship is crudely brought on the beach, and there seems to be total kind of a disorder where the ship is beached there. There are a lot of things are lying on the beach here. And if some oil pollution take place, the fear is if the next tidal wave comes, all this oil will be washed back with the tidal current back to the sea. How much potential danger is that? We have to see that part. And also in the picture, you can see later on how the workers and environmental issues are there related. But what I want to show here in particular, this is the revenue of the steel price, and this is the price of the other materials which when the ship is sold, people can get. So these two colors show the steel price, other recyclable materials. This is the one. And the cost when somebody is buying this ship to scrap, the cost is the steel here in the black color, and here you can see the two gray color here. One is the investment cost, and one is the labor cost here. And this band of labor cost is so small. Here, I like to focus that if the scrapyards spend a little bit more money to provide a good hygiene, good protection of the working gears, or etc., it doesn't cost so much money. And that is coming slowly, slowly. It's not that we should try to say everything is bad, but it's happening to slow change. Awareness is increasing. People are getting more conscious about safety. People, even on the ships which we used to work before, 30 years before when I came to sea, hardly could see anybody wearing a helmet or wearing a safety shoes. Today, you can see almost 100% people wear the safety shoes, and almost 95% of the staff wear the safety helmets. Similarly, as awareness will come, in the ship cycling industry, we can see the workers will not be walking on the flip-flop or barefoot, but the cost of this safety, etc., for the worker is very small. And a lot of noise what we're making up today about that ship cycling is very bad. No, they're doing a good service to the industry. They are providing a good green standard by 95% of steel or whatever is coming out by the way of wood, furniture, or machinery, etc., is recycled in the market. These are the first few yards which are available here. We mentioned that ship is scrapped on the pier or dock breaking that is happening in Alaga in Turkey, or you can see in the China also in the Pearl River Delta or Yangtze River, the pier docking is taking place, which means the ship is brought to a pier, and where the ship is cut piece by piece, and it becomes lightened, and the last part is by tilting the ship, by filling the water, etc., the part is cut out, and the last pieces come out of these things. They don't require a dry dock in this case, but it is in the pier that do the docking, breaking of the ship like this. But other places, what you see in the subcontinent, Indian subcontinent, the beaching is taking place in the Karachi, Alang, or in Chittagong. These are the main beaching centers here. Now, you can see the scenario of the implications of what we have here. India, Alang is the largest, is recycled about 38.6 million in this financial year against 28 million, and the money is involved in this kind of recycling that brings to that is about 13 to 14 billion. China, which is second coming in the line, Shenhui and Shangshui is the two largest shipyards, scrapyards there, and they bring the revenue about 7 to 8 billion. Bangladesh comes next with 1.3 to 1.8 billion. Chittagong is offshore, which is about, has 5 million tons of estimated steel coming out of the scraps. And Pakistan, Gadani. And what you saw here, our memory very short. When I came out to sea, Taiwan used to be the #1 destination for ship scrap. Today, Taiwan is virtually doing nothing much in the ship scrapping. Why? There was a fire in one of the ships, and the government suddenly woke up to this industry which was there in the backyard, right in the heart of the town of Kaohsiung. So certain time, some accident take place, and everybody becomes awake to the industry which are taking place, and regulations and kind of conditions which they impose, it becomes uneconomical to sustain the industry in Taiwan. So the shipbreaking has moved away from Taiwan. China today is doing a shipbreaking because it also requires a lot of steel, but the prices are going high because it has got a high standard to maintain infrastructure, etc. And also in China, which we saw last year, one of the ships was scrapped there. The pathetic conditions were there in the sense the yard was, it was an abandoned wharf where the ship was taken, and we could not get anything done for 5 days. We were struggling to get things done over there in that conditions. And it seems to be totally abandoned, deserted wharf, and nothing much was there. This is the market share in 2009. You can see India was having 30.29%, China was 31%, and so Bangladesh and China and other countries. Now, in this year, Indian share has gone to 48%, and China is 26%, 9% is for Bangladesh, and 8% for Pakistan. These are the 4 countries which is driving and taking away almost 76% of the ship scrapping taking place in the world. This is the prices, how the movement of the per light dead ton is being fluctuating here. You can see the three colors for tankers as were mentioned there. Different ships types demand different prices. And this is the price indication. One thing I like to mention here, the prices in subcontinent is higher, has been higher all the time historically than prices this is offered in China. And that varies between 30 to 60 to $80. Yeah? Now, one of my colleagues mentioned about the Basel Convention. The way we know Basel Convention is that it is putting a very stringent control on the country which is trying to demolish the ship. It means they have to have, the responsibility is on the country which is going to send the ship for a scrapyard, because that is a Basel Convention based in Europe, so they can control European owners. That's why Basel Convention is more tilted towards them, that you cannot send the ship, or that's what they call the transboundary movement of hazardous material. That is a restriction. The main law is about that part. It's nothing about the ship recycling. So when it comes to ship recycling, we have to understand whether a ship is a waste or it is a ship. There is a debate, is a long debate is there. We will have no time to go into that part. But what I want to say here is this is a good definition that they are trying to say, not only in not my backyard, but not on the planet Earth. What you see today, even though the Hong Kong Convention has taken place in May 2009, but what the EU has done, they are prohibiting the country which have the ship under EU flag to go to a scrap yard, demolition yard, which do not have a certified, what you call ship repair facility certificate issued by the government. So that is a restriction they're putting, and a lot of good owners today are looking at that aspect, that where the ship is being demolished. Today I have some of the owners coming all the way from Japan to visit these shipyards, which was not happening before. Why they're doing that? Because they want to see the ship is scrapped properly into the proper yard. And that awareness is driving the shipyards, even in Alang, to modify and improve the facilities there. We will see very soon in the picture. Some comparison between the Basel Convention and IMO guideline. It is placed on the exporting and owner of the ship. Here it is placed on the importing and shipbreaking state, both the sides. Basel Convention is export the hazardous waste. It is basically controlling the export of the hazardous waste, and importing state does not contain in writing to a specific report. But their IMO guideline is silent. This has set up the guideline for transporting movement of hazardous material, but there is no provision for this in the IMO guideline. Another thing what you will find here is fulfill this dismantling of the ships. It requires removal of hazardous material component to be minimized. But here IMO guideline is like from cradle to grave. It shows during the operation also we have to control the waste generation on board, and also retention during the operation as well as at the end of the life. It means IMO guideline is more kind of taking the concept, the ship owner while he's building the ship, while he's operating the ship, and when he takes the ship to shipyard, he has to control the movement of the hazardous material and whatever is there on board to be minimized before the ship goes to the scrapyard. There is no mention of green passport, but IMO guideline has started with the concept of green passport. And it affects the inventory of hazardous material, its civil structure, operationally generated waste, etc. Now, some more things about Basel Convention. Propose a ban on the ship breaking, and to see the international standards of environmental practice is there, and it will have a Basel Convention do not see what will have an impact on about 40,000 workers in India or similar numbers in Bangladesh. They are more concerned and more stringent to control that hazardous materials are not moved without any kind of a control. It will have an impact on steel. So what I want to ask here, is Basel Convention, if ship recycling is taking place because one country can dispose of hazardous material to the less developed country? No. Ship recycling is taking place because it is a need and is the only way that we can get ahead, kind of control of this huge material or steel or ship in a proper way. Hazardous materials which are part of the ship, it could be about 50 tons or 100 tons. It has to be contained, and as long as you know, the basic fours are already been banned, like asbestos, PCB, and ozone depleting substances are already being banned, and their use is reducing. There are some pictures to show how the things are in Alang. You can see the oil, water is floating, oil is floating on the water, and there are channels like this. You can see it flows back to the sea. The condition of the ships is lurching one side, pipes, other aspect of the thing in Southeast Asia. And then whatever waste is there, the burnt there only. So all the toxic fumes, etc., are in the air. And then workers are using crude method of cutting, etc. And some people are, you can see, taking rest over here. People are carrying steel plates on their shoulder with no proper safety. There are in the yards, which is, you can see, they make small, small pits where they can dump all the waste material or toxic waste here. And similarly, some things are there which is put in a small containment area, but that can be soaked by the ground. And there is some places they have a hard cemented kind of a containment area which they have made now, which can be controlled that way. And you can see the condition in this area. And you can see one of the snakes having a plastic in the mouth. Now coming to Hong Kong Convention, which is the way ahead to see that Basel Convention was good, that it made everybody aware. It made headlines, and everybody got talking about ship demolition. And to that effect, I think Basel Convention did a very good job in the last few years, and also Greenpeace, that it made aware everybody that this industry is one which we need to have a focus. And then you can see a guideline was there. There was a green passport inventory, and then we adopted the Hong Kong Convention on 15th of May 2009, and there's already been ratification started in September 2009, and up to now, 5 countries have ratified this. That is, Turkey is one of the ship-breaking country, Italy, France, and St. Kitts. The 5 countries already ratified this one, and we expect by 2015 we will reach the required number for ratification of this one. What I want to say, coming back from my focus of the presentation, is that too much regulations, people say it's bad. But when there is a regulation, like what happened when OPA 90 came, at that time, about 40%, 44% of the oil spill which was to take place, the source of that was coming from the ship. But after OPA 90, today, the amount of oil spill which takes place there and share of that part from the ship is only 2%. And also, the amount of oil spill as a whole also reduced. So OPA 90 had did a good job by reducing the oil pollution coming from the ship. Similarly, what we saw today, we have the MARPO rules. Think back of the harbor, what you saw 30, 40 years back. They were filled with oil, debris, and they were very dirty. Today, it has provided us the clean harbor and better clean condition in the harbor, and this also because of the MARPO rules. So too much restrictions, we have to have a balancing act, which came in the beginning when after the World War. It killed the shipbreaking industry in US, and some of the ships have become a reef there. They don't have the money to break the ship, the naval ship especially, and some of the exercises of the breaking the ship has become very, very costly. But to promote an integrated approach has been taken by the Hong Kong Convention. The ship industry addresses the infrastructural issues and other needs of the participating countries involving the ship recycling yards. Then we talk about the green passport. I will, in that, if anybody has seen what is IHM, it will be mind-boggling to you, because this inventory takes into detail of all the parts which are there on the ship, and what is the weight of the total product, and in total product, what is the weight of the hazardous material. With that much of detail, I don't know how we'll maintain this inventory, but it will be all done by some companies which already started to do that part, like Class NK and Williamson's and Lloyds. They are providing this service to the ship which are being ordered now. So there are very few ships which ship owners are ordering today who wants the IHM to be implemented at the time of that thing. For which what they need is that they have to have from the suppliers a declaration of conformity, what they call in short as DOC, and material declaration for the products. So it means if you have a 1 kg of valve, in that valve you can say there is a 3 grams of that Teflon sheet which is a hazardous material. It is something like that. It will be, it is a long list and will be very cumbersome to maintain the thing, so it has to be done only by a computerized way of doing the inventory. And it will deal with the structure and equipment, operating waste which we generate during the operation of the ship, and stores, etc. This has to be prepared. And responsibility for this IHM, which is another word for the green passport, it will be with the ship owner. And even they sell the ship to cash buyer, they still have to provide the IHM to the breaking yard. Then this is what we have, this ship recycling plan, which has been developed by the shipyard. And also the shipyard have to have the ship repair facility have to have a certificate issued by the flag state that they are certified and meeting the what is the new called ISO 30,000. It encompasses the ISO 14,000, 9,000, and some more issues for the for safety and hygiene of the workshop. So it is a combined thing, which is ISO 30,000, is required for the ship repair facility. And also a statement, and when ship is going there, it has to have a completion report and start report. SRP will have operation plan, health and safety plan, environmental completion plan, and emergency plan. In emergency plan is very important because now what we have seen many places, there is no crane. If somebody falls down and there is no facility to recover the body from the material, because there is no truck or something can reach there. So these are the things which we looked into this, that emergency escape should be there. If the ship is taking fire, can the fire brigade can reach up to the ship? So these are items which is supposed to be put in the emergency plan. Then also IHM part 1 to 3 we already discussed. Then the ship has to be fumigated, and before the ship is coming, we have to come. They are fumigated for 48 hours, and there are kind of sign safety boards, etc. Now, even though this convention is not ratified, awareness is increasing here. You can see the ships are coming with pre-clean accommodation ready for cutting. All the asbestos, all the inspection materials have been removed. Asbestos is packed in a double bag, and oil is pumped out from the engine room. So it means containment, disposal of material, and good housekeeping is already taking place. And this awareness is coming not even in the shipyards which are not there. So it will slowly, even before the law is coming, I think we are getting up to that kind of atmosphere. This is some of the photographs taken. You can see the protective gear and asbestos handling room, then celebrating World Environmental Day. So these things are education is one thing which is creating the industry to become more green. Vessel being demolished, person gear, and also you can see some places, because when you demolish a ship, it has to be not sometime remain on the soft bed, they have to be concrete bed, so that there is no leakage of the material or oil takes place to the ground, so they have to be contained in that solid impermeable surface. This is in the Arang. You can see there are already Though it looks crude, but at least something is being done in some scrap yards, like glass wool, ceramic products, paint chips. They're put in the different places so it can be disposed of in the proper way. Then you see our safety class is being taken by one of the people. So it is again something good movement. And you can see how the things are a bit clean and tidy here. So let's hope we move towards a green ship recycling and sustain the industry in a better and positive way. Thank you.